Right behind you, when you look back, the white man standing right there. Remember, he's a very dangerous man. He's waiting he's waiting for you to trip. And he's waiting to you to trip to assault the universe. That you are a part of this nature. So you must walk. You must walk in a very sacred way. And these are very important. We never had two masters. We only have one master, grandfather. But since the United States government come to this Western Hemisphere, we have two masters. So we are confused who to believe, what to believe. But remember, we was born to be a red man. And we was born to be a nation.
And the reason for Dennis Banks and Clyde Balcourt to be part of the formation of the movement was they were in prison. And they saw the racism going on right in the prison. There was no religious freedom rights. And so I think they came out of the prison, the institutions, with a determination to change what they had experienced. And
I kind of chaired the first meeting, saying that we have to do something about the police brutality, about the slum housing conditions, high unemployment that we're in, and the more we talked, the more people started to ask questions. Then there was one guy out there in the audience who was saying, "Well, what kind of action are we going to do?" And I'd say, well, we've got to form a committee. We're sick of committees. Well, these committees don't do nothing. So everything that I was talking about was being challenged by this guy. And the guy, of course, I knew, and that was Clyde Balcourt. And he wanted action right now. And we said, okay, we're going to go do it tomorrow morning. Well, we said, well, maybe Monday we can go meet with the police. No, we want to go tomorrow morning. So I said, all right, who wants to go tomorrow morning? So they formed people to go see the police chief right now.
We were all there at this meeting, and so we brought together, I guess, the summation of all our lives, all our experiences at a time when I always expressed it that we were about to be written out of history as roadkill cultures of manifest destiny.
It was called the Indian and White America. And the statistics that came out of the study was basically that Indians were living to be 44.5 years of age. That the average income on most reservations was between $1,500 and $2,000 a year. That unemployment on most reservations was as high as 80–90%. The housing, that I think at the time 40% of the American Indian housing didn't even have electricity. Nationally, and some reservations was higher than that. Dene Nation in particular, Navajo. The educational level of attainment for Indian students was 8.5 grades. So all these conditions were probably, and there was no question, they were the worst conditions in terms of social measurement of any ethnic group in America.
And at that time, when a white man killed an Indian, he was given manslaughter. When an Indian killed a white man, he was given first-degree murder. A form of frontier justice was going on that we knew we had to address.
How I came to know about the American Indian movement was we had a loss in our family. One of our grandpas, Raymond Yellow Thunder, was brutally murdered in Gordon, Nebraska. My mother, Grace Eagle Fox, her mother was Raymond's older sister. Her name was Annie Yellow Thunder. And that happened when he was murdered, and the family came to Dick Wilson, was a chairman, and for help into looking into the murder of our grandpa Raymond Yellow Thunder, but there was no help from there. They went on into the BIA to ask the superintendent and those in power at the BIA for help, but there was no help. And so a relative from Porcupine, Sievert Young Bear Sr., the family contacted him, and he had found out that American Indian movement was meeting in Nebraska. I don't know if it was Omaha or Lincoln, but they were having a national meeting there. So they sent Sievert Young Bear as a runner from the Yellow Thunder family to go to Omaha to ask AIM to come and look into the death of Raymond, and they wanted something to happen and to shake up those officials in Gordon, Nebraska. So
the incident of Raymond Yellow Thunder's death, where he was an alcoholic in the streets of Gordon, Nebraska, and he couldn't defend himself when several rednecks got him isolated and started to beat up on him. Then they pushed him into a VFW hall and stripped him of his clothes and burnt him with cigarettes, and he was kind of forced to dance. Then they took him out the back door and beat him up some more and threw him in the trunk of a car where he froze to death. I think that was when the elders, traditional people in Pine Ridge, called upon AIM to do something.